quick introduction. My name is Yuko Yamauchi, and I am the Executive Director of the Okinawa Association of America. And despite the name, we are really a local Okinawan organization, or Kenjin-kai. So if you're familiar with that term, it's an Okinawa prefectural association. We consider ourselves a cultural organization. We've been around for about 113 years. We are a 501c3 nonprofit since the 90s, so we weren't a nonprofit that entire time. But we are lucky enough to actually have a center in Gardena. So, and with that, we have two staff. So it's myself and Joseph Kamiya, who's also, he's the tech person today. But so you can imagine with just two staff, everything else that OAA does is by volunteers. And many of you are actually on here as well. So that's OAA in a nutshell. And let's see, what I wanted to just up front to let you know, the goal of today's session obviously is to provide the most recent information that we've received regarding the Taikai, regarding registration, and also like an overview of where we are with the travel situation, which I think is, you know, the thing that's most on people's minds. And also to get a feel for how, you know, where folks are in terms of, have you committed to going? You know, are you still thinking about it? If it is in person, you know, do you think you definitely will be going? So we just want, and the fact that, and you might have seen it in our promotions, that much of this year's Taikai is going to be tech-centered, technology-centered. And I think that has some folks a little bit concerned. So we're going to talk about that as well. So online, we do have our president and several board members. Our president is Edward Kamiya, and he'll be speaking a little bit later on. So I'll introduce him a little bit later. We have board members like Yoshihiro Tome, who the last Taikai, he was the chair of our Taikai committee. And he has traveled to Japan recently, so he'll be able to chime in on his experiences. So just a little bit of a sneak peek of what's coming up. So one of the things that was very interesting, so, you know, thank you for joining us. Thank you for filling out the registration forms. We had probably over 70 people actually registered, and then later we found out maybe not everyone can make it. This is, as you saw, is being recorded and it will be made available, but it will need to be edited a little bit. So we can't say exactly when it will be available, but there will be a recording. Of the 75 or so that registered for this, an overwhelming number of you have never been. It was something like 67% have never been to a Taikai, 30% have. And then as far as the registration, there was maybe a little over half, about 55% of folks are OAA members, and the rest are not, or might be thinking about, you know, joining, or are a part of other Kenjin-kai. So, so this information kind of helped us too with how to tailor what we were going to talk about. So, with the pandemic and the challenges, right, with travel as well, why in the world would any of us attend the Taikai? Right, so that's what I'm going to get into next. What is the Taikai, right? Even if the reason why most of you are here is because you've probably heard about it or are curious about it. And it's, if you have attended, you know what I'm talking about. It's unlike anything that you can experience. It is an amazing, amazing time where thousands, you know, pre-pandemic, right? Thousands of people basically return home, right, to our ancestral land, to Okinawa, to maybe visit family, to make connections, just to get to know the place that our relatives, our ancestors had come from. And then also it's this, like, to be able to see people from all around the world, right? Basically the global Uchinaanchu community, the Okinawan diaspora. It's inspirational, it's awe-inspiring, it's you hear all these different languages, even though maybe we all kind of look similar, or or we're tied to Okinawa, maybe we don't have relatives in Okinawa, but we feel connected to the people, the land, the culture. And so this is an opportunity to go back, and everyone's doing it all at the same time, right? If you've never visited Okinawa, this is a great time to go for the first time. If you've already been and you've done some of the tourist stuff, you'll know that this then coming where there's thousands of other people coming back for the same reason for just 4 or 5 days is it's an amazing experience. So if this pre-pandemic, my message would be everyone's got to go, find a way to go. This year, of course, it's a little bit tempered. We want to keep in mind why we would go back despite the challenges. And then we're going to talk about, give that information about what we can do about that. So what we're going to do is we're going to show a quick video that kind of shows and highlights some of what happens at the Taikai, including like a parade. There's a stadium in the city of Naha where these large opening and closing ceremonies are. So you're going to see all of that, but we're going to play that first and then we'll continue. So Joey, if you can share that for us.
We are Okinawa. 海を越え、言葉を越え、世代を超えて世界に広がるウチナーンチュの絆。ふるさと沖縄の地で心を通わせる世界のウチナーンチュ大会は延期になりましたが、私たちウチナーンチュは長い歴史の中で幾多の困難を支え合い乗り越えてきました。会いたい、その思いを抱き続けてふるさとからエールを送ります。安心して会えるその日まで。
はい、𝗥𝗘𝗚𝗏𝗧𝗥𝗢𝗏皆さんお元気ですか。沖縄県知事の玉城デニーです。世界各国のウチナーンチュがふるさと沖縄に集まり、親族と再会し、県民と交流を深める5年に一度の祭典、世界のウチナーンチュ大会は新型コロナウイルス感染症の影響により残念ながら延期することとなりました。今から100年以上前、私たちの祖先は海を越え、遠く離れた国で新天地を開拓し、ウチナーンチュの強い絆と精神で支え合い、幾多の困難を乗り越えてまいりました。その𝗔𝗡𝗚𝗏と𝗍𝗏𝗡𝗔𝗡𝗚精神、そして固い絆は今も受け継がれています。安心安全な状況で世界のウチナーンチュが会える日まで、それぞれの地で場所で体に気をつけて頑張ってまいりましょう。2022年ここ沖縄で皆さんと再会できますことを心より願っております。ぐすよマッチョイビンド。
一緒に縛ろう。
マキティならんど。頑張りましょう。盛り上がりましょう。
はいたい。
2022年にはここ沖縄で待ってます。頑張りましょう。
世界の
ウチナーンチュの皆さん、うまちそうやビンド。
一緒に歌いたい。
うるさしマッチョイビンド。
乗り越えましょう。歌三振でお迎えします。
またみんなで一緒に三振引きましょう。三振やウチナーの𝗔𝗡𝗚𝗏ともに千葉だ。
世界中にいるウチナーンチュの皆さん、市場には美味しい沖縄料理がたくさんあるよ。 𝗥𝗚𝗧𝗥𝗢𝗑で待ってるからね。
離れていても心は一つ。メソリオマチョド。
うちのアンチはみんな家族です。いらしてください。
うちのアンチはみんな兄弟だよ。みんなに会えるの待ってます。
世界のうちのアンチの皆さん、沖縄にはいっぱいいいところがあります。案内しますよ。マッチョイビンド。
私たちが沖縄各地へ飛行機でお連れいたします。空港や機内でお会いできるのを楽しみにしております。沖縄にメソリオ。
皆さんで乗り越えてですね、元気な、うちなーんち大会に来てほしいなと思います。頑張ってください。
もう世界にいらっしゃる沖縄の方々、また来年はぜひいらしてください。待ってますね。
この波の高さや志のゆえ、荒れる定めなれど恋出したサバに、この大きな荒波を越えていきましょう。縛りよ世界のうちなんちゅう。
2022年の大会で会いましょう。
またこれみんなで乗り越えてですね、はい、集まった時はみんな笑顔で会いましょうね。一枚も音楽を通して応援しています。はい、
みんなで沖縄に集まって歌って踊って笑い合える日を楽しみにしています。
来年みんなでまた再会できる日を楽しみにしております。みんなチャーガン中元気でまたお会いしましょう。ビギンでした。どうもありがとうございました。
世界のうちなんちゅ大会は1年開催が延びましたが、それは皆様をお迎えする準備がもっとできるようになったということ。さらに熱く楽しく充実したその日のために、𝗥𝗘𝗚𝗏離れていても支え合う心は一つ。さらに強く深くなるうちなーんちの絆。2022年笑顔で会いましょう。
世界のうちなんちゅだちばみそうりょいや
Thank you, Joey. So that video was made last year, which is why they're saying next year. But you can see the people in Okinawa. There are performers, musicians, local, some movie stars on there too. They're all excited and awaiting folks to come to the Taikai, right? So the Taikai is a 4-day event officially. And then there's a zenyatsai, which is like the pre-event or like the kickoff that happens the day before. So technically it's 5. The zenyatsai or the pre-event includes a parade, which you kind of saw some things on. So if you're going to go, you definitely want to be there for the parade, which is down this long street. If you've been 𝗥𝗚𝗧𝗥𝗙𝗚𝗏, it's like kind of like the Miracle Mile in Okinawa. All countries, participants basically march down, and lining the streets are the local folks who are kind of welcoming back. Basically, then they are saying that, saying "ōkaeri-na-sai, welcome home to Okinawa." So the zenyatsai first day, and then there's that's October 30th, which is also World Uchinaanchu Day. And then in the US, the 31st is Halloween, but that's the official opening ceremony for the event. And then the closing is going to be on November 3rd. And then in between, you have performances, there are welcome parties, there are tours you can go to. Yeah, just a lot of local exchange programs. So for those who have done it before, you can actually even have like communication with a local school and who want to learn more about Okinawans overseas. So there are all these different programs that will be coming up, which have yet to be announced, but they will be. Let's see. So that's what the Taikai is. So the next is, well, how can I attend, right? So, oh, I did, sorry, thank you, on there. It does talk about the passes. So I actually have my pass from 2016. So it has like my name and the country there. Sorry, blurry, right? But these passes basically previously would be what gets you into the event, and also used to include free bus rides within the city of Naha, which is probably going to change this time. But if you've been previously, that's what we're kind of used to and what we expect. But yeah, so these passes are how we're identified as the overseas participants. So the next part, which is like how do you attend? And first of all, is it actually going to happen, right? People keep asking because we hear things about what's happening in Japan. And what we've been told by OPG, which is short for Okinawa Prefectural Government, and their planning committee, including Satoko Kaneshi-san, is that in early August, so if there's concern that maybe having an in-person event is becoming difficult, it's in early August that they will announce if they're going to actually cancel the in-person portion. What that means, though, is the Taikai is still going to happen, even if it ends up being virtual. So in early August is when we'll know. So in August, if they don't cancel, then everything is moving forward that there's going to be an in-person event, right? So I know there might be questions on that, but that's just sort of the information that we've been given on that. So let's say it's going to happen in person. So how do you go? How do you participate? Well, first of all, it's free so there's no additional fee to actually go to the Taikai other than travel expenses and lodging, right? But you do have to register, and that's where I showed the pass. So when you register, you get a pass, and that like identifies you as an overseas participant. The thing that's different this year is that registration is online, and you may have already heard this if you listened to the info session that Okinawa did several months ago. They did announce that, and so right now, enrollment for members of Kenjinkai. So Kenjinkai, as I mentioned before, are organizations like the OAA, and just even in the mainland US, there's probably close to like 40, 50 of them. There's a lot, including Hawaii. And so they've currently made it available for Kenjinkai members to register online. And we'll talk about, how to register. But those that are not part of a Kenjinkai, there will be another announcement as to when enrollment registration will be available. Now, why does this matter whether you're part of a Kenjinkai or not? It's because, when a person registers and they identify that they're with OAA, for example, then all the registrants who are part of OAA, these passes get mailed to us here in the US, and then we distribute it to our members. So that is part of why, because if you're not part of a Kenjinkai, it doesn't make sense, right, that it goes to a Kenjinkai, or so that's why the system is set up the way that it is. And then if you're not part of a Kenjinkai, of course, you can go online and register. And your pass at this point is that you will pick it up when you go to Okinawa. So those that are not affiliated with a particular Kenjinkai, there will be a check-in and a place where you can pick up your passes. So that is basically, in order to attend, you just have to register that way. So if you don't have a pass, there's more that I'll be explaining, but then you're not part of, the overseas participants, right? So that's how they can sort of identify visually whether you've registered with for the Taikai. The last Taikai we had through OAA, and this, travel agencies worked with us. We had it was like 526, I think, people that came out and registered through OAA. So we are anticipating, of course, that that's going to be a smaller number this time. But as you can see, that's kind of a lot to manage, right? So one of the questions we know that have been coming up, like, well, if Kenjin-kai could sign up now, you know, are there spots? Is there a limit? And what we've been told by OPG is that it does not matter now or later. There's no cutoff. Their intent is that they will be able to receive all overseas participants. If something happens with the you know, with the coronavirus, the numbers, and they feel like there needs to be some distancing, then they might have to do that with the local folks who also participate in some of these things. But they're putting a priority in making sure that all overseas participants who are going to Okinawa are going to be able to attend. So whether you register now or register in a few months, as long as you're coming from overseas to attend this, they will be able to accommodate us. So, so some folks who had questions about that, and also, you know, wondering, oh, well, do I have to join a Kenjin-kai? So some of you I think are out of state, may belong to another association, and that's fine because you can register through them. Or if you don't belong to one, that would be like your choice if you wanted to join a particular association, but you don't have to in order to register, right? So we wanted to kind of address that for people who have concerns. So I think the next part is going to be the actual registration, which there's an actual manual on how to register. And if you're a Kenjin-kai member, then you're going to have access to the link and you'll see these instructions. And if you're not a Kenjin-kai member, and even if you are going to do this later, it's the same process. So we wanted to share that. And so Joey, if we can pull up the manual, which was provided by OPG. So I am not seeing anything on the screen right now. Okay, so registration steps, and these are in all different languages. There's a Japanese and Spanish and Portuguese version. So, but we're going to look at the English one, right? So actually, if you can go back down, Joey, to that first page, yes. So it's this registration. So if you've done things online, then this, you know, you're probably, because most people, I think, that also signed up to attend this meeting, most people are comfortable. There's maybe about 30% of folks who are, you know, kind of iffy, like maybe a 3 or 4 out of a 5, and how comfortable they are with online things like this. So that's why they created the manual. For those of us that are very comfortable and do things online all the time, it does, it behooves you to also pay attention a little bit, because there are some things that might not be as intuitive. But the first thing is you're going to have to register your email, and they only will accept a unique email. So for example, if you know someone that wants to go, but they don't have email, or they're like, oh, can I use your email? It's only going to allow one unique email to create an account. So you can see that step 1 is to register your email, and step 2, it's creating the account on this online system. And then the neat thing is you can actually add family members or other people in your traveling party through this system. So there could be one point person, you know, who's maybe tech savvy, who can do it for other family members. And then in this system, you'll be able to, it says application for event. So basically, it's whatever you're interested in attending, there's going to be an opportunity to say, yes, I want to go to that. And again, most of these things will be free. And then, you know, you'll get a confirmation of whatever event that you're applying for. And then you're able to make changes. And then, so what all this is going to do is basically generate a QR code to enter some of these events. So I'll talk about that a little later too. So, okay, Joey, if we can go to the next page. So this is kind of what the, it looks like, where you can see, you know, email registration right on the top left. You're going to click on the login, and then you're going to see on the, you know, to the right of the screen, you see where it says registered user, and then registration for new user. So you're actually, when you're doing this for the first time, you're going to click on registration for new user. And then if you keep going down, the first thing it's going to ask you if you agree to policies. So you're going to hit, Joey passed that up, but right there, the agree button. And then, okay, and then continuing, you're going to get then this page where it asks you to put in your email address. So your name, the country, your email address twice, right? Just in case you mistype it. You're going to create a password, and then you're going to confirm your input. Okay. Then after that, you're going to see this window that kind of summarizes all that, right? Your name, the country, your email, and then your password, and then you're going to hit submit this form. And then the next thing is you're actually going to get an email from the system, and it'll look something like this, where it says, we have received your email address. Now, please create an account. And then it'll have a URL there. And then we click on that through the email, or actually you can even go through, the other way too. Like if you already have it bookmarked or open. So, okay, continue. And then now you're back in to that front page application for the festival. So in the email, you clicked on the URL I gave, and then you're back to this page, which looks suspiciously familiar to that first page of registering your email, right? You're going to click on login, and then you're going to see this registered user and then registration for new user. This looks exactly the same. And if you're like me, mine autofills. So you're going to probably, your email might get filled in and your password might get filled in there. But here is where you're going to click again, registration for new user. So we click on, because meaning if you don't, you're going to get this thing saying that your an account has to be created. And I'm saying this from experience because I did test this out. Because I didn't look at the manual. I thought I'm tech savvy. I don't need to look at the manual. But here you're going to click on registration for new user again. And then if we continue to scroll down, now there's a privacy protection policy, and you hit agree. You continue going down, and then now you're going to have very similar fill in a form you got to fill in, very similar name, country. So, and then here now you're going to see for the first time travel agency, and you can see that some of the things are asterisks and some are not. So if you don't know if you're going to go, which travel agency, you can leave that blank. But otherwise, the travel agencies are on a drop-down menu, and you can pick whatever agency you're traveling with, the email address you put in, again, twice, the same password you put in twice. So this is where I said it's not quite as intuitive because it feels like you're doing the same thing, but it's asking for more information. Now you're going to need to put in a mobile phone, and that one is an asterisk one. So if you don't have a mobile phone, you won't be able to. So if you leave any of these asterisks, the red stars, right, parts blank, it won't let you finish. So you'll have to put something in. So if that happens and you're not, so you can put in like the family member's mobile phone if you needed to, because you can change this information later, right? So you can put in something as a placeholder just until you're able to get that information, right? So then it's going to ask for gender, age, what generation of Okinawan descent, Uchinaanchu you are, how many times you've attended the festival, the type of accommodation. So like, let's say if you're really not sure on this either, are you going to be in a hotel? Are you going to stay with family? You cannot leave it blank. So you'll have to pick something. Again, you can change it later. And then the rest of it asks for like, when are you arriving? What's your flight number? When are you departing? All of that could be left blank because there is no red star, right? And then you're going to hit confirm. Then you scroll down. And then at the point, so now there's that summary here of the answers you had put in. So, and then you check, make sure it's all correct. Otherwise, you're going to go back, and then if everything's correct, you hit submit this form. And then once you do that, this is where you can actually add people. Like, so if you have family members, you can add them there. Let's say you're not traveling with family or other people. You can then, on the left, you'll see click for application or application for event, you click on the application for event. And currently, if you keep scrolling, oh, so it's saying click for the event and then you can add people. So if you're going to add people, then this is where you can add them. So I didn't add people when I was sort of testing it for myself. But if you are going to add, you can see ask for name. That mobile phone is not red starred. So I guess you could leave that blank. Gender, age, the generation, and the number of times they've attended the festival, and then you confirm your input. So keep scrolling. And then this is the information you inputted on the person in your party that you're also registering for. And then you can add other people, or you could hit submit. And then now, so they're in your system, like, so your particular registration, your account has these other people as part of your party. And then now on, you go back to application for event, and then you see in the center, name, please select. So there's a drop down and you're going to see your name and whoever else you inputted. And so then you click on one individual like yourself. And then right now in the system, they only have the opening, as you can see in the top. And then the main event 2 on November 3rd is the closing ceremony / grand finale, which happens back to back. So you can click on whatever event you want to participate in, and then you can submit, or you can, you see it says submit, continue making registrations. You can, I think then it allows you, if you keep scrolling, allows you to add other people in your party. Yeah, is there more to scroll over? Is that, yeah. And then once you've done that, you will get a confirmation. And then if you needed to change it, so you can, you know, it'll, the events that you've registered for are going to show up under, after when you click on this confirm change button. So you can see there's a registration number, the application for event, the name of the person who's going to be going. And then there's a modify QR code and cancel. So this is how QR codes are going to get generated for people to be able to enter the various events. So here it shows click view, and then it says step 7 is going to be printing out the actual QR code, or wait, it says print out the event application or make changes. Let's see, if we keep scrolling down. Oh, so once you click on it to view it, right, it'll show the QR code, the name of the person, and then what events this is for, and then you can hit print. And so your people can take this print out. Was that the last page, Joey? I can't. Oh no, there's more. Okay. But yeah, let's keep going. So you can print out your QR code, or let's say later you find out, oh no, you know, someone can't go, or we need to add someone else. There are ways you can make changes. So, you know, click modify and keep scrolling, and you can maybe add people. I think a little bit lower, it says select the name of accompanying people, yeah, that you want to add. And then you'll have the same thing. Okay, they're gonna, you know, are they gonna go to the opening ceremony? And then you submit the change in the registration. And then, so yeah, so this, let's say everything is all done. You've registered people to the appropriate events. Then you can print out the confirmation that has a QR code. So, and it'll look like this, right? And then it says, so print out this page or present it on your mobile device. So you can go to, like, let's say, so opening ceremony, it's gonna be at Naha Stadium, Cellular Stadium. You go and you can have this printout, and as you go through, they're gonna scan it. Or if you have it on your smartphone, they're gonna scan it, and then that'll let you in. So it's not one barcode for your entire party, because that's what that graphic is. We're a group of 4, here's 4 copies. So each person with their name on it is going to have a different QR code. So this is what's going to be needed. So that is the registration, basically, right? And so the pass is not enough to get you into the events. It's the pass plus your QR code, right? And so I know some folks are like, well, what if I don't have a smartphone? Or I wasn't going to travel with a smartphone, or, you know, or maybe you don't have an email, or maybe you're not on the internet all that much. So those things we will, one of the things that we've talked about this with Okinawa, and we've talked with other associations too, we're going to be having folks really try and find someone in your group or a family member who's willing to do that for you, because it is going to be an issue. It's not, this is happening this way. And I know with the pandemic, a lot of that also has converted to that, right? So like contactless. So things are more technology centered. And so if you're concerned, you know, because one person can do it for others, or even if someone's not maybe traveling, but they can print it out for you, for example, right? That, or they can receive the information from Okinawa through the system, and they can let you know. We highly recommend that. And we're, you know, and if you're still concerned, of course, you can speak to us about it, because we have maybe some ideas, but the easiest and probably the safest is to find someone that you know that can help you with this, right? So even if you don't do it yourself, finding someone to help with that. So yeah, so that's the registration thing. And again, we'll have like this manual available, and again, for OAA members, they will have the link. So if they want to do it now, then again, there's no rush, right? It's not like there's limited number of seats, and if you don't do it now, it might run out. There's time to do this. So want people to be rest assured on that. Okay. Yes, this site that we were showing you through their manual, this is being maintained and maintained is the best word, by Okinawa prefectural government. So this is not something OAA has created or maintained. So we're using it because this is what's being used for all associations, all Kenjinkai around the world, everyone. And then of course, even if you're not in a association, all individuals who want to go will have to go through this particular system. So if there's issues with it, there is a support desk link that you can ask questions to. So if you ask us, we probably aren't going to know, and it's possible OPG might not know either. So it's because it's a third party that's maintaining the site. So any technical questions about the registration system should go through the site itself. Okay, let's see if I missed anything. Okay, and so I wanted to also touch base quickly on this whole, like what OAA's role is in the Taikai for our members. So assisting our membership. So we are a member-based organization. I think most Kenjinkai are, which means that there's, you know, actual annual memberships, people pay fees. And then, so this is one of the benefits of being a member, is that we will assist members who have questions, and our intention is to be able to share quick, immediate updates, and also resources that we get. We do our own research as well to kind of back up these things. So last Taikai, thank you, that's we had to do the registration. So that's what's different this year. Now it's not the Kenjinkai that does it, it's on the individual. So that's what's changed, one of them. And then the last Taikai, what we also did was we organized for the parade, and we actually created a uniform. So on that link there, I think that should work, just to kind of give an idea. Our committee came up with some designs, and we had California Uchinaanchu shirts that people could purchase. And then in the parade, this is what we wore. So if you saw in the video, there are other places where they wore exactly the same, like Kariushi wear shirt or aloha shirt looking. This is what we did. And then we also had a little bag that people could buy. And this was great because a lot of our members bought this as omiyage. to give to people in Okinawa. So we'll probably do something similar. Just wanted to share that that's what we did last time. And then we disseminated the passes. So as I mentioned, when people register, and there's going to be a list that says, you know, Okinawa Association members, and we're going to get this list. They'll send us the passes, and then we'll be also disseminating it. And we did that last time as well. We organized parade logistics. We even planned an evening social and some tours. And then we also were available for support if someone felt like they needed it while they were in Okinawa, whether it was language support or anything of that nature. So sorry, so that I had skipped. So what we're going to be doing this Taikai is very similar, right? And so that's why I was mentioning that members are going to be the priority, simply because that's one of the benefits. And with limited resources, we will definitely help direct folks who, you know, if folks want to know if there's a Kenjin-kai association near them, we can help with that, find that information out. If our members are having any trouble with registration, we will likely try to jump in and assist, but we're not going to be able to do that for the general public at large. So for folks who, you know, might think, oh, well, you know, people can join a Kenjin-kai, or you can just register, you know, independently. Or if there was an interest, we were thinking that there could be a Taikai support package. So you don't want to be a member, but maybe you'd like to ask OAA to be sort of a support or a liaison. We may have a package for that. So if you're interested in something like that, let us know. But right now, our focus is going to be on providing assistance for our membership. So, but these information sessions are open to all folks who are looking for information. Yeah. It's just going to be like mainland US, maybe even Southern California focused. But yes, so that is our intent, is to continue providing information. So the next part is going to be about travel updates. So I know a lot of folks, I think this is probably where the reason why a lot of folks are here is they kind of want to know, you know, what are the latest things. So first of all, as you probably, a lot of you probably have done your own also research. I'm gonna take a drink of water. One more. Okay. So to travel to Japan from the US, a visa is required. Sorry, yeah, Joey, I think I just have the links up there, so I'll just talk right now. A visa is required. So if you're tourists going for sightseeing, or, you know, vacationing, or, you know, going on a trip, only group tours are being accepted. So actually, Joey, could you click on the LA, the Consulate General site on that list? So the second one, yeah. So we will share these links with folks, but you can find these too. So the Consulate General of Japan in Los Angeles, right? That's our local consulate. And they have this document, which I thought was great, so that's why I'm sharing it. This pretty much explains. So if you were any of these things, these are the only ways you can get in to Japan right now. And so number 7 is what is going to be of interest for most of us, right? Temporary visit for tourism purposes. Let's see. And so you can see here, and I am in touch with someone in the visa section at the consulate, and they sent me a bunch of answers to questions yesterday, so that was great. But they're only doing applications by mail. So if you are not in LA and the Consulate General, like I think if you're in San Diego, I think that one in LA is going to be your consulate that you will have to apply for a visa. So that's one of the things that you'll have to research, is what is your local embassy or consulate general. And so here in LA, you could see they only are going to accept by mail. I was told they do 100+ visas per day currently. So they are busy, but with that, they said it takes about a week. They're able to handle the volume at about, it takes 7 days. So, and you can see the requirements are listed there. Joey, if you can scroll down a little, I don't think, yeah, so so that will explain all of this, right? And so this is currently. So looking at this might give you an idea of what's happening now. Of course, it could change very easily in the next month or so, right? So going back to the Consulate General site, that second link again. So if you're a Japanese passport holder, yeah, if you just go back, actually, I think it'll, that one, yes. So if you are a Japanese passport holder, or you have what they call re-entry permits, you actually don't need visas. So for some of you who are going to go on Taikai, but you have Japanese passport, that's going to be one of the differences. You won't need a visa. If you have a US passport, you will. So on here, you'll you click on the various ones and see what kind of requirements are needed. So let's see. Currently, right, you can only go to Japan if you're part of a group tour. And then the travel agency might assist you with your visa application, or the individual can do it. I asked the consulate officer about that, and he said, yeah, sometimes the agency might be able to help, or there's like visa agencies that will help, but more often than not, it's individuals that are turning in the application. So if you're going to go through, if the only way you can enter is a group tour, then obviously we're going to sign, right? If I definitely want to go, but they're only going to do group tours, then I'm going to choose a travel agency to go with. If it changes where you don't have to, a tourist can enter without being part of a tour group, which there are rumors that that's going to happen. And, I don't know if that's helpful or not, but we've heard rumblings that might change soon, where individuals, tourists can go. And so in which case, all of this, right, applying for the visa and all that stuff that you need to know. And then, so that's the getting there. The other part of the challenge of traveling is once you get there. So once you're in Japan, there is an app. And Joey, if you can go to, oh, you know what? Let me do it really quick on that list of links, the visa application form, just so folks can kind of, it's like 1, 2, 3, 4th link down, I think. Yeah, visa application form. Right, so I won't go through it, but it's 2 pages. So just so you know, and you can, they have a fillable link on site, but it does ask a lot of questions, right? And that's what you're going to fill out, sign, and then send in. So, okay, and if we can go back out of that and then go to the Ministry of Health, Labor and Welfare. So that's towards the bottom after the MySOS app. Okay, on that summary page, yeah. If you go to that. So once you enter Japan, here's what's, if we haven't traveled in a while, if we've been to Japan, they didn't do this before, they will track you. They're going to they're tracking all foreign visitors. So there is this app called MySOS, which you will be required to download onto your smartphone. So what if I don't have a smartphone? Yes, that they actually say then you should rent one at the airport. And then I asked the consulate, well, what if they run out of rental phones? And he said, well, then people should reserve ahead of time. So currently, they are very serious about having a smartphone every person having a smartphone. So it's not just like one person for the family, it's each individual. Could this change? Absolutely. But currently, this is the case. I verified that with the consulate, and also there's some people that we know that are in Japan now, and they said the same thing. So on this app, so if we scroll down a little bit, what it does is actually, they'll ask you to download this before you enter into Japan. So whether you do it, I think before you get on the plane or while you're on the plane, or before you go through customs, they're gonna ask you to do this app and to fill out some of this information ahead of time so that it doesn't delay you getting into the country, right? So sometimes folks are going to be taking connecting flights, right? Because currently my understanding is there are no direct flights into Okinawa. You have to go through mainland. If you're taking a connecting flight, then and you're going to get delayed because, oh, you didn't do the MySOS, I didn't know, which is all possible, right? But this is where traveling is a little bit, we're going to need to be a little more in the know of what can potentially happen so that you don't lose time in your traveling. And basically what this app does, you can see where it says there under number 2, it confirms your current location, and it also reports your health condition. So you'll get a notification on the app a couple of times a day saying, where are you currently? So there's a I'm here type of a button, so they know where you are. And then your health condition, it'll ask, I think, questions, and it'll give you instructions on how do you report about your health condition at that time. And they might even do a video call. So, and it says right there, important, you must answer your incoming video calls. And if you scroll a little bit more, yeah, so there's another app, a contact tracing type of app. That's not, I think, required, but this MySOS app is. So I think for a lot of people that's very new. Oh yeah, you can keep going, Joey. So the next part, yeah, on this, and we can share this link as I mentioned, but it tells you how you can download the app. And you can see in red, sorry, come back down here. If you have no smartphone or have one that cannot install the app, you will be required to rent one at the airport. So this is a document from the Japanese government, right? I didn't make this. So that is exactly what they are saying. So just FYI. So I think we can scroll down a little bit more, but I think that's kind of it. Yeah. Oh, yeah, and then it kind of tells you can do it before you land or when you're in the airport before you go through customs. So on this end, I think, let's see, Tome-san, if you can hear me, he experienced what this app was about, and I don't know if right now if you'd like to chime in and share about that app, or we can do that a little bit later. Okay, later. Thank you. I'm getting messages from other places. So, okay, so we do have people who have experienced it. So if you have specific questions, they will probably be able to help answer that. And I know there's going to be questions on that too, but I'm going to keep moving forward. Okay, we're a little past the hour mark. So the next part was then to talk a little bit about the risks, right? Like traveling overseas at any time, of course, will always have certain logical like risks. But currently in this pandemic, right, there is the sort of the health and medical part of it. Some of us might not feel comfortable necessarily traveling to another country, but you can see all the measures that they're taking to make it as safe as possible, especially for the local people as well, right? Because we're the ones coming in. But and then there's also the financial, like if you have to rent a phone, or, heaven forbid, like let's say you were to come down with COVID, or you have symptoms, or you test positive, and now you might need to stay. Then there could be some extra expenses that are incurred as a result, which we might have to sort of be slightly aware of. And of course, time, because if you cannot leave immediately, maybe you only took so many days vacation, and then now Japan is saying, oh, sorry, we can't have you travel right now. So there's that too. I just realized I forgot a point before getting into the risk, was about this MySOS app and having Japanese government really keeping tabs on where people are. I know as Americans, we're not so used to or comfortable, with that. So that is one of the things. It is another country. If we want to go, we do have to follow their rules. Yeah, just wanting to let folks know ahead of time, right? That is one of the requirements in order to enter into Japan at this time. So, so with those risks, of course, there's things like travel insurance, right? And there's all kinds of travel insurance. The travel agencies that you work with are going to be able to answer more specific questions, but also this is where I wanted to also ask our president, Eddie Kamiya, who is in the insurance industry, to offer a little bit of maybe insight as to, what kinds of things we should be considering when we're going to be traveling and understanding insurance and the questions that we need to ask. So, Mr. Kamiya.
Hi, everyone. Thank you, Yuko-san. First, I want to thank Yuko-san for doing such a long monologue, handling all this for us. Quickly, yes, unfortunately, I've been in insurance for over 40 years, and I've been grateful to have many clients who do go to Japan and other countries. Obviously, the pandemic has changed things, but generally speaking, many people believe that their regular medical insurance covers them when they go overseas, including Medicare. And although many insurance companies do have overseas coverage, almost all of them are on a reimbursement basis. So you need to understand that if you do go to a foreign country and you have, for instance, COVID, and you're there for 5 or 7 days in the hospital and rack up $100,000 in bills, they may not let you leave without paying first and then getting reimbursed later by your insurance company. So it behooves you to get travel insurance because most travel insurance have local offices in the, or at least offices in the various countries where they can set up a direct payment to the doctors or hospitals, so you don't need to worry about paying ahead of time. The other situation, as she mentioned, is possibility of being delayed in Japan due to another COVID upsurge there, or even the upsurge here where you can't come back to the United States. So many travel insurance will also have coverage for extra expense, such as getting lodging in Japan, having the delay, so you need to reschedule your flight back to United States, which may cost more money, a lot of various things. So it really is important when you book your travel to talk to your travel agency or talk to your insurance agent to be sure that you are properly insured prior to going, because it's always a risk to travel. But with this pandemic, and although we're on a downward trend of the pandemic, Obviously, you've noticed lately there's another variant. And, with the monkeypox issues going on too, who knows, COVID-19 started as a localized thing in China, and now it's spread worldwide. So the travel insurance, I believe travel insurance is a necessity that you really should look at. And please talk to and include it in your budget. So please talk to your travel agent, insurance agent, or anyone else. So I wanted to be sure that everyone who goes, enjoys everything, enjoys the Taikai, but also is assured that should something happen, they're not going to go bankrupt because they went to the Taikai. So please be careful. Please, as Yuko-san said, this when in Rome, do as Romans do. So in Japan, you got to be a local Japanese, not a Japanese American or Japanese Portuguese or anything else. So please enjoy yourselves and be careful. And insurance is one way to make sure that you're properly protected in case of a drastic thing. Yuko-san, there anything else you thought I should do?
No, I think that was good. And,
Okay.
so yes, thank you so much. So he's, Mr. Kamiya is a great resource for us trying to navigate those kinds of questions. But the other thing, and Joey, I don't know if you're able to bring up those links again, but it was the final link that I forgot to share. So it used to be you had to quarantine when you go into Japan. So that actually has been lifted. And that final link, it says look at country state. So this is the Japanese government site. And there's actually this site where you can actually put where you're, anyone entering where you're traveling from. So select region is going to be North America, if you can click on that for us. And then country. This is interesting. Every single state is listed. So we're going to hit California because, most of us are here. So it kind of says, there might be quarantine procedures and all that, but you said where you're from. So you click for results. And then it says you are not required to have a COVID test at the airport and quarantine after entering Japan. You will have to have a COVID test currently before you board. And that's part of what that MySOS app is also for. And when it comes time to that, if it's still like the 72 hours before you board and people are like, oh, where do I get tested? We'll have all those kinds of links and things too as information. But if you're coming from California currently, and let's say you're in a tour group, you don't have to have a test once you enter Japan. You don't have to quarantine. But as you scroll down, you'll see it'll talk about that MySOS app. So that's going to be coming up. So if you do your own sort of research, and of course they have different languages, it'll explain all that. So I just wanted to show that too. So for people, because I know not everyone is from California. And I think we might have even had someone outside of the continental US and outside of Hawaii that might be joining us. So, but yes, so then that we covered the risk part. And so the next part is so thank you to our travel agencies who've patiently been waiting. But we have 2 representatives from 2 travel agencies who are offering packages, particularly, in this local area. They do, of course, have packages and people from other areas can also book with them. But we're going to give each about 5 minutes to talk about what kind of packages they have. And then specific questions for the travel agencies are ones that we're going to ask you to give directly to them, and we'll have their contact information available for you too. So the first, I wanted to introduce Tamiko Uyehara-san. She is the president of the Uyehara Travel and longtime OAA member. So we're going to have her introduce her packages.
Good morning, good afternoon, everybody. Thank you for inviting me to Zoom, and thank you very much for your information for this. First of all, 7 Uchinaanchu festival. Because till now, not this easy to you doing this tour, but this year very hard, all rule. So now I get lots of learn from the Yuko-san. Actually, my company is 37 years. Of course, I do the 7 times Uchinaanchu Taikai was really easy. You know, the people come and sell the hotel air, that's really easy. But this time not. So, and then now, and the plus, I don't know what's going on. So I have this package, but this selling the 2 years ago, and then I give the early bird sale, and then, but last year doesn't work out. So but people applied, about 100 people already applied, but still continue till next year. And then I try to reserve the air, very expensive. Will not just like before. So I, of course, we're doing the people selling, and then that now we're doing the air, first air only. Air, we sell in the air because now really cheap, not too many people reserve the seats. So right now, the air is cheap, so we're making the reservation first, and then the hotel package, other things later after August, because the Yuko-san mentioned after August, they know that we're going open the Japan, the easy to go into the Japan. Now we don't know, but air ticket is a changeable ticket. And then so we, right now really cheap. And then actually $500-600 airfare, and then that fee charge is close to $800. So when right now good chance to buy the airline ticket to Okinawa. So we're selling right now, and then we have still selling this package, and then, but I'm sorry, but no early bird sale, just regular $2,800 the price. So if interesting, you can apply for this, and plus you can buy the only air only, and then if something happen, of course the airline will exchange. But deposit money, land deposit, of course, we will refund everything. So if interesting anything, please call us. And then even, of course, mention the insurance. We're going help you to how to get the insurance. And then other things, it can help you, the option tour, and then other things, Japan, other island. So please call us. Anything else, Yuko-san, that I can do that?
Yeah, oh no. I know, yes, it's been very tough for the travel industry. Yeah. So we appreciate that, you've kept your package, and we're gonna put her contact information in the chat, but also we'll try and have like a summary of all the different resources that we had. But thank you very much, Uyehara-san. If there's questions later, we're going to ask people to contact you directly. So thank you so much. So next we have from IACE Travel, Noriko Sakurada-san. And if you could share with the group your packages.
Oh, yes. Hi. Okay, I'm gonna share the screen just a moment. Okay, hi everyone. Konnichiwa. My name is Noriko Sakurada from IACE Travel. I'm happy and honored to be here with Okinawa Association of America. And I am here to introduce Uchinaanchu package festival packages However, as Tamiko-san mentioned, it's very difficult for us to plan and set up a package for at this moment. But this is the package deal that we have for now. And as you all know, entry restrictions to Japan still prevents American citizens from traveling there without visas. So our package on this slide is was based on the situation without any issues to travel to Japan. So we are, however, we are currently working to see if we can create a packages with like supporting visas as a tourist. If we can meet all the restrictions to support visas as a traveling group. So if we have updates, we will let OAA knows the deals and what's included. And so this price on this brochure is based on the, like it's based on the situation before the COVID. So the price may be different, but I wanted to introduce our packages here. So this is our escorted tour from start to the end, and start means arriving Naha Airport. So you will have a, we will have to have a support from Haneda or Narita Airport to Naha Airport in order to meet a visa support like measures. And so it will be different, but either from the airports in Tokyo, we are going to meet by the supporting staff or the guide.
Okay. The travel agent speaking now.
Sorry, we're gonna have to.
Okay, yeah.
Okay, and we will have our packages from pre-opening parade to the end. So we will have time to spend pre-opening parade through opening ceremony and the optional tours in Okinawa and the closing ceremony, and going to Naha Airport from your hotel. So we will have to reschedule and these packages, but I think most difficult point is the activity in each areas, like each community that you all belongs to. So we will have to figure out how we can do with these activities, but we are currently working on it. And next is just a moment. Oh, and we have Uchinaanchu Festival packages as well. It is a Tokyo 3 nights packages. And guys will be with you, with your group all the time. So it should be okay to be able to support the visas, but we will have to figure out the prices and everything again. So this is currently what we have and what we are working on. And again, we will update our deals and packages once we have new plans. Okay, thank you, Yuko-san.
Thank you. So I know we're furiously typing. So in the chat, we're trying to put the contact information. So we'll make sure that you have the correct information. And also we'll be sharing, I think, a link to Uyehara Travel also has an itinerary that explains like what is happening on what day and what's included. And IACE e-travel flyer too will, I think, have available, because as you saw, they do have in fine print, like what's included, what's not included. So, so thank you. Those are some options, right? So if you want to travel in a group and not worry about, worrying how you're going to get from one place to another, what hotel to stay at, then looking into these options, both Uyehara Travel and IACE Travel, we wanted to share So even if you're not in the area, you're welcome to contact them. And as mentioned before, if you do have specific question, we'll ask you to refer to them directly. So that so far is, that in a nutshell is basically what we were going to present information wise. And then we wanted to open it up for Q&A. And I know that I haven't been able to keep track of it at all, but our moderators I know have been watching the questions. And so if you have a question now, you can put it into the chat as well. But I think I'll
you want me to read some of them for you? So
yeah,
then,
that would be great. Thank you, Kristen.
So one question that we got, will we be mailing passes for OAA members who are not in SoCal?
Oh, not in SoCal.
Correct. So they're not in drivable distance.
It may be possible because the other option would be that maybe we could meet up in Okinawa.
Oh, if they're willing to pay for an additional cost.
Oh my goodness. If you're willing to pay for additional costs, yes, we will mail it to you. Yes.
Another question was, some Kenjin-kais, their contact information is a little difficult to find. Will we have like a resource page where they can find local Kenjin-kais being in the continental US, so they can contact them to get the link to sign up early?
You know, we will work with, I think, Okinawa, OPG on that. There is a site called World Uchina Network, WUN, which do have a lot of the associations on there, I mean, worldwide. And true, they might not be the most up-to-date information, but that is one place to start. If you're having trouble contacting them, if you let us know, we'll try and look into it. It is hard. We know it's difficult. Like OAA has actual staff. We have an actual office. So, and even then, sometimes we get a little behind. So imagine other associations, Kenjin-kai, that's all voluntary, or maybe not as tech savvy, but they're like a really tight community. And so when there's an outside inquiry, like they may not immediately respond because they've got other things going on, right? It's not their full-time job. So yes, you can send us questions for specific places that you might be looking for. We do have an idea of where there are Kenjin-kais and where they're not, and some of them we are in touch with. So
okay, and I believe you covered this already in the presentation, but it was specifically regarding questions to Japan and Okinawa. So Okinawa is part of Japan, so they are part of the same restrictions. And I believe you already covered that one. So the next question was regarding the SOS app, and in general, in Okinawa, how are they going to do Wi-Fi? Do they need cellular data? Is it recommended that they bring a hotspot? How much tracking is this SOS app able to do if they're not constantly connected to cellular data like we are here, or there's not as much free Wi-Fi in Okinawa?
That's a good question. And I'm wondering now if Tome-san might be available. A number of us within the association do have experience with Wi-Fi, like renting Wi-Fi hotspots and taking them with us, or renting it there. So, it's possible. And if you're in a hotel, likely you're going to have Wi-Fi. There's probably certain tourist areas where they're going to have Wi-Fi too. But, maybe if you're visiting your relatives in kind of more rural area, that might be harder. But oh, okay, I see Tome-san. Looks like he's switching out with Mrs. Uyehara. The question, Tome-san, is, what kind for connectivity, right? Of course, airport has Wi-Fi. So for the MySOS app, that's not a problem. But then as you move out of the airport, how much connectivity, like having, let's see, what exactly am I asking? Like how connected do you have to be? How often do they contact you, and what happens if they can't contact you, and things of that?
What I do is I'll share my experience with SOS app. It should be easy, but I did have a little difficulty to handle that. So when I got in the airport, I downloaded the SOS app, and then I answered all the questions. And the last one, I wasn't able to. The answer was the seat. You are assigned for the seat on the airline, right? But it took me a little time to find a seat and get it in, and I was a delay. Then somehow app was a freeze, and I wasn't able to put all the seat information to the SOS. Then I get on the board and I just let it go. Then when I got to Japan, arrived in Japan, and then those are the government agents say, are you the green or you are the red? So I show my app, it was a red. That means my previously submitted to the answer wasn't successfully accepted by the government. So they took me into the red, so-called line corner. Then I got to check all the PCR result, and it took it almost 2.5 hours. So when you have SOS, my suggestion is make sure you consult with the airline stewardess people, or even on the board, you check with them. They'll guide you. Or if you have a time, if you go a little earlier time, you can also spend a little time in the airline, the kind of people, find somebody who can probably assist you. So I like to strongly recommend you to get the assistance from them. Now, when you landed, every day they'll check you. They check me 2 times a day. But then I did have a confusion. I gave it a hotel address to the government, but I move around so much, and they say, you are not there. You said you changed the address. So I said, definitely I changed the address, but I couldn't understand the meaning why I have to input the address wherever I am. So I kind of ignored that a couple of days. And then the government sent me the warning, you are violating federal law. So I went back to the airline office and requested assistance on this, and somehow I managed on this. So this SOS application is very complicated. So please ask the person who is familiar with this the system, including your travel agency and the airline personnel. And then especially when you move around and change around, and you just have to be ready. And then I think I do not have the information. What about those kids coming with you? Do they need their the mobile, the phone with them all the time? That I don't know. So those areas, please check with your travel agency. The other one is when you take a PCR test over here, 24 hours, 72 hours prior to your departure, make sure you ask them to get the hard copy of a Japan government authorized form. Okay, there is several different types of the PCR so-called certificate, the form on that, but you have to make sure that you have to request them to Japan government authorized the form to bring with you. I guess that's all right now. I can SOS information I can give it to you.
When you go, do you use your own US cell phone and then just turn on like roaming international use?
Sorry, I kind of missed you.
Sorry. Do you take your US phone there and you turn on international data roaming?
Oh, yes, yes. I think based on the program you have, and you can use your phone, and of course you got to pay for that. My roaming is I'm paying for $10 every day. Then I have unlimited data coming in. So I normally do not worry about the Wi-Fi. I just use my phone on this. And those areas, you got to be careful that the type of the phone program you buy. or you can buy the SIM card out there. And the SIM card depends on the SIM card, incoming call, outgoing call, you have a different price. So be aware of that. And then of course, it's up to you to use the Wi-Fi area. You gotta find the Wi-Fi area to use the Wi-Fi rather than the US. So maybe it's a good time to learn so-called your program, what kind of package you have in your phone.
Right.
Unless you won't be careful, it's gonna cost you.
Yes.
It's gonna cost you very expensive in a telephone.
Yes. And I know I can see in chat, some people have experience, so they're putting in the information.
Yes.
But this, rest assured, this is something that we also do cover. So let's say, we're all registered, we're getting ready to go, we're getting our uniforms. Then all the stuff like the day-to-day, the smaller nitty-gritty stuff, we will start to talk about and answer more questions. But this is kind of a good overview of what, we're going to have to.
And especially mobile phone is not that a travel agency, the airline, your own telephone company.
Yes.
Unless you rent the inside of Japan.
Right. So some of the tips, if you guys have seen in the chat, people recommend 7-Eleven, Starbucks has free Wi-Fi. You can rent or buy a SIM card once you get to Japan. You should also check with your own personal cellular provider to see what your international plans and rates are available to you.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you so much, Tome-san.
Okay.
And so we have a few more questions that were emailed as well as put in the chat. How are our members and non-members going to get the link for the registration form? So just kind of reiterating that.
Yeah, so for members, especially those that have registered for that, we are planning to send that out, make that available, right? The actual link currently to register. For non-members, OPG will, when they are ready to accept, and Satoko-san may be able to say, answer more on this, that, when that time comes, then that link is going to be made public, is going to be made, official. So Satoko-san, do you want to do a quick answer on that, or?
Yes, hello, my name is Satoko Kaneshi. I'm a chief of invitation section of the Uchinaanchu Festival, and I will answer this question. And for now, our registration form is open to all the overseas Kenjinkai, but we will open the overseas individual participants. We will be open to a registration form to individual overseas participants in late next week, or I will check on the date, but we will open to the registration form to the individual in next week or week of July 4th. And we are now considering if the registration form is open to our website, or we will email the registration form to individually. But if you want to register as non-member of the Kenjinkai, we can send you a link. So, but the one thing is different. One different thing is you need to there's a Kenjinkai list, but but you need to choose none of above. So there's a lot of lists of US Kenjinkai, but if you are no member of any of them, you need to choose only none of above. That's only difference.
Got it. Thank you.
I think there's a couple of questions regarding the registration form. So Satoko-san can go ahead and answer these. So a couple questions came in regarding the question of gender identification. Just out of curiosity, how's that information going to be used? I don't believe that we separate events by gender. So the question was just information, like, are they going to be adding different gender identifiers, or and how that information will be used?
Yeah, that's a good question, and we have considered if the gender information is added to the registration site or not, but I don't think we use a lot, but just we collect all the information and we put on the all the participants just participants data for on our report published after the festival. Probably the male and female information will be the participants rate, like 60% of the participants were male and 40% were female. That's the only way to use the information. So it doesn't make a lot of meaning.
So for those who don't identify with either of those genders, are those additional? Oh, Yoko, go ahead.
No, I actually went on just now and did a check. So it's male, female, other. So there is a third option for those.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes. We added one. Yes.
Okay. And so a couple of questions kind of relating to similar things. Can someone attend through a tour but not participate in the organized activity? So this might be a little travel agent specific, or maybe we can just answer in general. So if they wanted to spend time outside their tour, like to get into the country, they're going to go in with a tour, but they're not going to really do that itinerary. They're going to go do their own thing. Is that allowed? And are they allowed to kind of go in before or after the tour starts?
Well, because the tour companies currently, they have to fill out information for their group. So the expectation, so you imagine you're on this list of a tour group, and then you have a MySOS app, and they're like, where are you now? And you click, I'm here, and you are somewhere that is not, or you're, that you're not supposed to be based on the itinerary that the travel agencies put in. That could create an issue, right? If things are more open up, or there's actual free time, I think that's built into the package. I think that is when, usually, even if when there was no MySOS app, people would take that time to visit relatives or do something that's not on the itinerary. So if there's anything more to add, I'll allow Sakurada-san or Uyehara-san to respond. But I think, that's.
I think Yuko-san's right. We to support visas for touristic purposes, we have to we have to put all the itineraries, and which is based on accompanied by tour guide. So basically, if it has to be all along with the itinerary when we applied for touristic visas.
Okay. And so going back to the SOS app, they would like to know what language or notification or tracking communication, or when you're even being called, will they call in your native language, or is it going to be all in Japanese?
Yeah, when I was in Japan last November, it was all Japanese. And I heard one of my friend whose husband is American, they called, but they were all in Japanese. So it was kind of strange, but I don't think we have a everyday contact at this moment. So my SOS apps is for the entry documents, like preparation for now, unless further changes. So right now, we don't get any contacts by the government every day.
So if a individual was coming, someone is asking, do they need two separate visas if they're going to do a pre or post trip to Japan or Okinawa and then join up with the tour? So are they required with the two visas, or no, just the one? Make sure you list everything that's going to happen.
If your family in Japan can support your visas, which is a visas called in the chat, spouse, child, relatives, acquaintance of Japanese nationals. You need the visas to be supported by your family in Japan, and you only need one visa to visit Japan. So with that visas, I don't think you need to report all the itineraries while you are in Japan. So it's pretty different. So it's the best way to your family in Japan support your visas, which requires a system called ERFS, which is unfamiliar for, might be unfamiliar for them, but will be not so difficult once you get in the system and you just report when they are arriving and when they are leaving. So things like that. And once you get the family get the confirmation through ERFS, they will send you to the confirmation pages. Then with that confirmation pages, you go to, you send all the documents to Consulate General of Japan in Los Angeles, and they will get you a visa within 5 business days, I believe, this time.
And if we do not have family in Japan to vouch for our visa, is that still a possibility for us?
It's the, it will be a tourist visas. So supported by a travel agency in Japan. So then we have to report all the itineraries and it's more strict.
Understood, thank you. So these next 2 questions, I can answer this one very quickly. Can non-Uchinaanchu friends join? Absolutely, this is open to everybody, Uchinaanchus and Uchinaanchus at heart. So rest assured, have your friends all go with you, make it a great trip. One more question was, is there a way to get in touch with local Kenjinkais if you're not familiar with them yet? And I believe we answered that earlier, that we'll probably have a link on our Taikai web page once we get it up and going again for this World Uchinaanchu Network, which should have a list of Kenjinkais in areas, local areas. Of course, we can help assist with if you're having trouble getting in touch with them. But I believe that was the question. And I think at that point, I've covered almost everyone. So someone asked the reverse question. What if there are any restrictions to re-enter the country? So questioning's coming back from Japan to here, I believe. Does that make sense? Yeah, yes, okay. Yeah. I answered it, I asked it correctly.
So my understanding is right now, you don't need to, it used to be you have to test before you leave Japan because you're coming into the US. That's no longer the case. And great, Joey, yes, but, oh, I'm sorry, that's a different thing. And no need to quarantine at this time. Yeah, so it's easy to leave to come back here.
Joey did put the Kenjinkai link in the chat. So if you're wondering where your local Kenjinkai information could be, it could be on that link. But if it's not, or if you're having trouble, we'll do our best.
Yeah, if I'm not mistaken. Oh, Kaneshi-san.
Sorry. Well, there's a lot of Kenjinkai in the world and in the United States too, but some Kenjinkai's contact information is not open to public. Right. So if you want to like ask if you have a Kenjinkai nearby, you can ask OAA or you can ask us directly. So I think Yuko has my email and our section's email address. So you can ask us or OAA, both are okay.
Great. Yeah, I was actually going to say that. I don't think they all have contact information, which, you know, it makes sense. I think sometimes we get information requests sometimes too from Okinawa, like, oh, someone is asking to contact you. Is it okay if we give that information? So, you know, we do have emails and phone numbers that are public, but a lot of folks, it's their private residential information, so they don't want it out on the internet. So yes, we will help with OPG's help to get you in touch with a local Kenjinkai.
So I think at this point, that's all the questions we've got in the chat. And I believe that we have received through email. If there's any more questions that pop up on either, I'll pop in with you. So.
Okay. Well, great. Thank you.
Did anyone want to unmute or ask their questions?
Or someone that might, we did have some, a handful of people come in person. If there's any questions that, you're not able to chat, but you'd like to ask.
You can either raise your hand and we can mute or unmute you, or if they have the ability to unmute themselves, we can go ahead and do it that way.
And just, I just did get a little update. Of course, if something changes, we said you don't have to get a PCR test or test before coming. It is possible if that changes though. And if you test positive, you may not be able to leave the country, right? That's what we kind of talked about, the risks where things could happen. So meaning like, because a test was required, but you were symptomless, and then it says, oh, you're positive, you're still gonna have to stay. Most likely, if you start to feel sick, you're gonna get tested, and then you'll know, and then you'll have to stay too. But yeah, that's just something to keep in mind. But
I don't see any raised hands.
Taking a look too. Wow, you guys have been great, and a lot of questions, good questions, and definitely keep, if you think of some things later. As Kristen mentioned, there is an OAA Taikai info site that we put up, just that's very localized. And of course, like I said, if we do like the parade and uniform and stuff, it'll be all on there. So we'll try and put these things up there as well, and direct people as, because so this group is a group that's already thinking ahead 4 months down the line, and you're considering if you're going to go. We know they're going to be people who aren't going to think about that until maybe 2 months before, or even a month before. And all of this is going to be new to them, and they're going to be playing catch up. So we will have this information up so that, and you don't have to remember everything, right? Because things are going to be changing most likely. So I think we're going to wind it down then, right? Yep, no more questions. Okay, so thank you very much for hanging in. As I mentioned, there is going to be a recording that we'll make available. And there were some things like, when is the non-member, or I keep saying non-member, but it's like individual participants, not part of the Kenjinkai. When will that be available? All those kinds of things, more as we get specific information, we'll be trying to put that out as well. So yeah, we wanted to hear from y'all and see where you're at, and be able to present information like the travel packages. And again, Kaneshi-san, thank you so much. It's now, I think, probably almost 4 in the morning in Okinawa. So, thank you so much. But yeah, so we're gonna end it. But what we'll do is, if you went to, especially if you went to 2016 Taikai, we thought we'll just, if you can leave, if you're, if you need to, but we can just stream highlights from the last Taikai. So if you went to the last Taikai, you can kind of relive that, and you might even see yourself maybe in there. But that's how we'll end it. And then so this is the end of the official information session. So thank you to Uyehara-san and Sakurada-san also for joining us, and all the board members and the volunteers, and Kaicho-san and Tome-san. So thank you so much.